New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Oh, come on, thousands. Cheers some more. There you go. Well, good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world, since we are a global network here. Hi, good evening. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I am broadcasting this evening from the extremely secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret and so secure that only one person knows where I'm located, and that's my faithful producer, Diego. Everyone else has no clue, especially our chief inspirational officer, the Reverend Robert Brzezinski. He has no clue on where the top secret bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way. Now, he had to mail a check to me a couple of weeks ago. All right, I had to give him an address, but that's not where the bunker is located. Okay. Well, hi there, everyone. Welcome, and we do have a wonderful show for you this evening. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments here on Facebook, and also for all my shy people out there, and I know you're out there, you don't like commenting. I get that. You can just email me, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I do read those during the week, and again, really appreciate those of you who do contact me. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat is to talk about spirituality in the world, and we talk about the news. We also talk to individuals about their spirituality. And the reason we do that is because, again, that it is my sense that, again, that we are coming into an age of enlightenment, that the whole world is coming to terms with its own divinity individually. So we talk about that. We also talk about the world's events also, again, not to shy away from them, but to say that we are part of that, and that there are things that we can do to make a world that does work for everyone. Well, our special guest this evening, all the way from Kotlik, Alaska, and we'll show you where that's at here in a moment. My friend Toni Shannon, who is a licensed religious science practitioner, who's lived a very interesting life. And she was in my Wednesday night class with Dr. Tom Sanar before his passing. We'll talk about with Toni about her life, her career teaching fifth graders in an Eskimo village, and also how they go out and hunt moose, how that's a part of the curriculum. How cool is that? We'll talk with Toni here in just a few moments. And again, to everyone who did celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. Also, today is Black Friday, or the official start of the Christmas shopping season. The term Black Friday for all of our international viewers comes from the retail merchants who say that today, that they finally turn a profit for the year. Now, personally, I do not shop today. I may do something online, but today I listened to Toni for a change. I stayed at home, stayed away from all the shops, and I worked on the Fireside Chat. Well, for everyone again watching this evening, again, please comment. We have our comments are open here. Let's see who has checked in so far. Here he is. Hi, Wayne, all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Good evening, sir. Good to have you aboard. Okay. Here in the news this evening, first up, the first hostages were released after the Israel-Hamas truce begins. This is what we know so far. An initial group of 13 hostages have been released. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said, as a truce between Israel and Hamas, the first in weeks of fighting, appears to be holding. Separately, 12 Thai nationals who were held by Hamas have also been released, Thailand's prime minister said on Friday. A total of 50 hostages are to be freed over the next 4 days, pause in fighting, while Palestinian prisoners are also due to be released in waves. Humanitarian aid has begun arriving as a part of that truce, with much needed fuel entering in from Egypt. Now, this next news article goes a lot along with what I just read about the Israel-Hamas conflict. U.S. interfaith communities draw on decades-long bonds to navigate Israel-Hamas war. I thought this was really interesting. Please pay attention to this. In the days that followed the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, Lisa Kaplan Miller's WhatsApp group fell silent. And Kaplan Miller said that she first joined the Sisterhood of Salam Shalom, which was an interfaith organization that was founded by a Muslim and a Jewish woman in suburban New Jersey shortly after the 2016 election. She wanted to discover the similarities between the two religions and combat her own misconceptions. Now, members of the Sisterhood meet on a regular basis to learn about one another's culture, to work on volunteer projects for Muslim and Jewish charities, and also to plan trips around the world. But the war, Kaplan Miller said, has shifted from their normally lively dynamic, morphing their collective grief into a heavy silence. For Kaplan Miller, conversation and perhaps confrontation felt unavoidable. We truly had no choice if we wanted the chapter to continue, she says. So as the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza rages, many interfaith groups in the U.S. whose members have spent years building lasting friendships across religious divides tell CNN the conflict has renewed their determination to draw closer together. It's just like a marriage. This is from Mohammed Al-Homsi, who is a Muslim chair of the North Jersey chapter of the Interfaith Encounter Association. He says, when you have a relationship, you make a promise that you will stay with your partner forever. In that same way, we have devoted ourselves as human beings to stay together. And the article goes on, and again, it says that, that they've had to really have a conversation about what was going on. But see, the conversation is not about politics. The conversation centers around their sadness and pain. Instead of talking about the politics of war, members of the Sisterhood focus on their collective grief. Members say that they all can agree upon one thing: no one wants innocent people dead. I believe in my religion, and I believe in one thing, that any innocent life killed is a crime. Regardless of who does it, we have no right. As the women shared their fears, they also spoke to each other with gentleness, dedicated to being able to hold two truths and narratives at once. Tears, Kaplan Miller said, were free-flowing. There is no healing from this, she said, but we were maybe soothed for the moment. A little less raw walking out than we had walked in. Although the war has tested friendships, Kaplan Miller said that she believes those who have embraced the challenge of communication through the conflict have found a sense of peace. We had an island in this ocean of tumult. It was a quiet little island that we created for each other that just felt safe and calming, she said. This problem has been going on for 70 years and we're not going to solve it. But we can maintain relationships and not lose sight of each other's humanity. The only way out of this is love. And the group that was just described, again, that was between women of the Jewish faith and also the Muslim faith, that we have similar groups here in the United States with people who are ultra MAGA, very red, and individuals from New England, from blue states, liberal, getting together and talking, forming relationships. See, that's the secret here. When two sides of any conflict start really forming relationships, something not so surprising happens. The two supposed sides find out that they have more in common than they do have in disagreement. And that's exactly what I just described, and also what is what has happened with the groups here in our country, the ultra-right and the ultra-left getting together and talking, having a conversation. So we continue to pray for the West Bank. We continue to pray that a peaceful solution can and will be found. Lastly, this evening, we may even be out of the news early. Anyhow, a Native American boy was forced to cut his hair to comply with school hair policy, the ACLU said. An 8-year-old Native American boy in Kansas was forced to cut his hair to comply with his elementary school's hair policy, according to the Kansas American Civil Liberties Union, which calls the policy discriminatory. In a letter that was sent Friday to school officials with the Girard Unified School District in Kansas, and also the elementary school, the ACLU demanded that the school rescind its hair policy. The ACLU Kansas says it wants the school to immediately grant this individual an accommodation allowing him to wear his hair below his shoulders in accordance with his cultural and religious traditions. According to the legal advocacy group, the boy is a member of the Wyandot Nation, a federally recognized Native American tribe that's based in Wyandot, Oklahoma. The ACLU did not release the name of the child or his mother. So in August, the boy was told to cut his hair, and the following month, his mother asked for an exemption because of his Native American heritage and spiritual beliefs. Many men, she explained, in the Wyandot Nation only cut their hair when mourning the loss of a loved one. The school's assistant principal sent an email to the boy's mother saying that the boy's hair had to be cut or he will be sent home. According to the ACLU, the mother decided to cut the boy's hair out of fear that her son would be reprimanded and to ensure that he would be able to go to school. but the decision caused him and his mother distress. The ACLU attorney and co-author of the letter, Janessa Calvo-Friedman, told CNN that she appreciates that the school board is going to consider updates to the policy in her meeting in December. And she says, I hope that the school district changes the policy now and takes seriously the statement that a safe, respectful, and caring environment for every student is important. But also, nothing will sort of undo the fact that this little boy was forced to cut off his hair by the community that was supposed to be his own learning community. And the ACLU's letter followed a recent series of incidents regarding hair policies in schools that advocates have called discriminatory. As an example, in Texas, a black high school student was referred to alternative school last month over the length of his locks hairstyle, CNN previously reported. So my question here is, shouldn't there be some leeway in the dress code when it comes to ethnic and also indigenous customs and beliefs? I mean, this isn't the 1800s here. For centuries in this country, indigenous people were tortured for their customs and religion because society wanted them to become white Anglo-Saxon. Just read the story after story about Indian children being taken away from their parents to boarding schools for the purpose of getting the Indian out of them. I thought we lived in the 21st century. I thought that we hopefully have grown in awareness over the years to be able to see, to respect one another. We as a society still have a long way to go in terms of the treatment of indigenous people. And that's the news. And I'm at 18 minutes. That's amazing. Well, anyhow, hi there. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael, and again, in a few moments, we'll be having my special guest all the way from Kotlik, all the way up in the great state of Alaska. In just a few moments, my friend, Toni Shannon, will be on, and she will share with us her life and a lot of the things that she does up there. She teaches 5th grade. Do you remember your 5th grade teacher's name? I do. Her name was Miss Kuzi. Miss Kuzi. I loved Miss Kuzi. I probably, if I had Toni as my teacher, I'd probably say the same thing. Love Miss Shannon. So anyhow, let's get to some announcements here. Yours truly still parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information about our wonderful online service, please go to summitcsl.org. There you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, Alaska time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, and join us. We do have one of the best services, I do believe, in New Thought. And this Sunday, our speaker will be our spiritual director, practitioner Diana Mangus. So please go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. And our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page. And our Facebook page also has past broadcast. Fireside Chat, and yours truly when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network. Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. And our wonderful network would ask for your support. We take this message around the globe with this technology. The past 3 years have seen explosive growth. Not only in our schedule, we have over 40 hours a week of content. I remember when we only had like 5, not that long ago. But we have teachers and practitioners and also ministers from around the world that use our platform to empower people on our planet. They do give a little towards the production cost, and that we are asking you to please partner with us. We are doing such good work. It's amazing at night when I'm doing prayer that I have people from South Africa, I have people from Australia, people from Canada, all praying together at once. We have the opportunity now to make New Thought not the best kept secret out there anymore. Again, please go to our donate page. That's ntmedia.org/donate. There, you can give a very generous one-time gift, or you can do like our presenters and other people do, and they give a monthly sustaining gift. Those numbers we use to make budgets, not the one-time gifts. We really appreciate some of those. And they've been very wonderful this year. We really appreciate the people who come to us and again, assist us to take this message to the world. Partner with us here at ntmedia.org/donate. All right. Boy, Wayne has been really active this evening. Indwelling Christ everywhere, light worker, prayer and meditation. How wonderful. Always good to have Wayne with us. Okay, so we're going to go and take a break here. We will be right back with a lot more, including my friend Toni Shannon. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zoe DeMuro.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
My friend Toni Shannon is going, what kind of disclaimer is that for your show? I'm the only person, by the way, our legal department here at the New Thought Media Network told me that, well, Reverend, you're a little on the controversial side, so we need to put a disclaimer up there. I said, okay. All the way from Kotlik in the great state of Alaska, we have my friend Toni Shannon, and Toni is a fifth grade school teacher and we'll try to describe where her town is. Kotlik is in Alaska in just a moment. Toni, what an honor to have you. I've been asking you for a while and you finally said yes. So thank you for saying yes and being on our show.
Thank you, Reverend Michael. I'm really pleased here today.
Oh, well, you're welcome. So tell us where Kotlik is.
Okay, so Kotlik, let's see. Whoops, that's not going to work. Okay, so here's a map of Alaska. So you'll see here over, if you go to the coast, you'll see the Seward Peninsula sticking out there. And then you'll find Nome right across the Norton Sound from Nome. You'll find Kotlik. On the northernmost mouth of the Yukon River, we're a small Yupik Eskimo village, maybe 550 to 600 people. We have no cars, no roads, no stoplights, no coffee shops, no police. So because we're at the alluvial fan at the end of the Yukon River, we're tundra. And so
Yes.
so there's boardwalks. And then in the winter, of course, it's frozen.
Okay.
And we use ski-doos. In the summer, we have boardwalks.
Yes.
Boats. And so to come and go from Kotlik, you either need to have, in the summer, either a boat or an airplane. And in the winter, either a ski-doo or an airplane.
Are you native, indigenous up there?
I am not Yupik.
Okay.
I've been here since 2005.
Okay.
I've been in Alaska since territorial days, but ethnically I'm Irish and Mescalero Apache.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So, how did a nice woman like you end up teaching fifth grade up in an Eskimo village?
So I'm, like I said, I'm Alaskan, and my family were bush pilots, and I spent a lot of time all around different places in the state following the herds. And then by the time I was in third grade, we'd settled in Anchorage so that, we could all go. We went to school in Anchorage. And then my father had bursitis in his shoulder, and they told him to soak it in salt water. So we spent most winters in Mexico so that he could soak water. And so we used to drive down in a school bus. This was back way before people were living in school buses. And so, there was a whole bunch of us, all us kids. And
back in the hippie days.
And yeah, well, but we were pre-hippies, though.
Okay.
Beatnik days, child. Probably you're too young to know, but
okay.
But
Yeah,
we
go
go
ahead.
down to the outer end of the road in Quintana Roo. The road goes through now in Merida. But yeah, it was a pretty magical, wonderful childhood. So anyway, I guess it was 2000, early 2000s. My daughter was off in college. My husband had already passed away, and my grandmother lived in Oregon, and she was getting older, and she wanted to complete her life in her home.
Okay.
And there were there was some concern about that. So I wasn't doing anything important. So I sold my house and my business and went down there, and she completed her life. And then I'd been a substance abuse counselor for, I don't know, a few decades. And then I'd trained substance abuse counselors. And when my daughter and all her friends left and she went to college, I realized, I miss all those teenagers. I love teenage minds. They're so interesting and exciting. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to get my teaching license. So I did that while I was in Oregon, and then I was coming back up to Alaska to teach. And I thought I wanted to teach up north farther, or maybe in the interior. And I was looking for a job, and I got offered a job here. I came out here as a long-term sub, and I fell in love with this community. Now, the thing about Kotlik is everyone is so friendly and kind and loving and helpful. And, being from a large, loud Irish family, it was a little different to be around, to be here. And, the culture's so different, and it took a while to learn the nuances and to be able to see how things were going. And of course, I'm still learning, but I do really love being here.
How wonderful. And so, how did you get into the science of mind and spirit?
Well, science mind, isn't that interesting? So I'm going to show. So as long as you have the map up,
okay.
So you can see. You can. Oh, I can't see.
Where do I need to go?
Well, no, just right here, where this northernmost mouth of the Yukon, right here. You can see where it comes out right there.
Right
and
there?
So that's where I live. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't see what you're doing. But yeah, so that's where I live. And yeah, it's so wonderful. Oh, they've got us way inland, but whatever. Anyway, so I've taught from 4th grade through 12th grade since I've been here. And so this year, almost all the kids that are in my class, I held when they were born, and I taught their parents when their parents were in school. And if I didn't teach their parents, I taught their aunts and uncles, and maybe their brothers and sisters. And I started, I made my first dance. So when a young man makes his first kill, or when a young woman's grandparents or parents tell her, then you first dance and you're presented to the community and to our potlatch partner, which is Stebbins. And so I got to do my first dance in 2007.
Okay.
And so I've been part of our dance team since then. And I get we danced last night. And so we dance, we dance for holidays and occasions, and at funerals and at weddings, and just as a community. In the winter, people would, they would come together. It's cold here. And so that's the thing. I got to make my class worth getting out of bed. Getting out of bed when it's dark, it's the middle of the night.
Right.
Walking through 30 below weather, walking because we don't have cars. There's no school bus. Walking, and there's could be snow drifts, because nobody's shoveled the snow a path to school. Getting through the snow in the freezing dark, freezing cold. I got to make my class worth getting out of bed and coming to. And so, so that's pretty exciting.
That's fun.
That's kind of a big challenge, isn't it? And I love it. And, you said earlier, so last Friday, we, in the fall time, a bunch of the high school kids had gone moose hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they get a moose, and then they come back, and, they go to fish camp, and where they hunt moose, and they get the moose and they bring it back, and we cut it up, we process it, we freeze some, we jar some. And so these are important life skills for us. And then we have the moose. So I made a moose soup last Friday. Yeah, a week ago. And the cooks use it sometimes for our meal, for our lunches, our school lunches, and they
So
pass it out to elders. And we pick berries. We go berry picking in the fall, and we go ice fishing. So I can load all my 5th graders in a dog sled and pull it behind a ski-doo and go out ice fishing. We just dig a hole in the ice and catch fish, or go where I live on a fluvial plain, so it's flat. But
right.
about an hour and 45 minutes to the east is a hill that we can sled down. So they write, we match our curriculum. They write a persuasive letter why I should take them to Hogback to go sledding. And then they write an experiential paper about what it was like. They write thank you notes to all the people who went with us or made us lunch, or and it's so there's writing. We do the math. We measure how much gas did we use. Does it take more gas to pull more weight? So that also important life skills here. So there's math, there's writing, there's map making, there's directions. It's pretty, so we try to incorporate local things. But like I was saying, in the winter time, it's cold and it's dark. And so that's a good time to sew and to talk story and to dance. And so we spend a lot of time dancing and telling stories and coming together. And so then in early spring, first week of March, we have a potlatch, which is competitive feasting. So year by year, we trade off. So like one year we'll go to Stebbins and they'll present first. And they try, and they'll present their new dancers and their new songs, and they'll entertain us, feed us and house us and give us gifts. And it's absolutely wonderful. Then the next weekend they come to us, to our village, and then we present our first dancers, and then we dance and we feast and we give them gifts, and we try to entertain them better and give them better gifts and feed them better than they did us. And so it's such a beautiful, it's a competitive feasting. It's such a beautiful way to be in. And everybody leaves so happy and filled with spirit. You asked me how I got into Science of Mind. So
Yes. Well, first, before you get into that, let me tell everyone, hi. You wonder what you stumbled in on. This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. We are with this evening, longtime friend of mine, Toni Shannon, who is in my class on Wednesday evenings with Dr. Tom, who I miss dearly, who's still with us. I think of him and he's still around. So, but so anyhow, how did a nice lady like you get into the science of mind? Go ahead.
Okay. So as Reverend Michael said, I'm Toni Shannon. I'm a licensed practitioner of religious science with the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. And that's in Anchorage. And about 40 years ago, I was seeking recovery from the disease of addiction. And in 12-step programs, it suggested that one finds a higher power. And that's a whole long another story. Anyway, there was an exotic dancer who came up to Alaska with one of my friends who came up every summer to fish. So he came up to fish, she came up to dance, and they were going to money up. And she gave me a bootleg copy of a cassette tape of Louise Hay.
Wow.
And it was Louise Hay's Curing Cancer cassette. And on one side, she had What I Believe, and on the other side, she had a meditation. And when she spoke, it spoke directly to my heart. And I knew this was what I believed. And so I started listening to that meditation every night. And then And a few years before that, there had been I'd been going around with some people, from 12-step programs, and they'd taken me to a study group downtown at the Hilton Hotel, which is kind of a fancy schmancy place. And I went with them, and it was interesting enough, but it wasn't whatever. And then I went to Universalists or whatever, Universalist Unitarian.
There you go.
Metaphysical church. I started going to metaphysical church, and I went there a lot. I liked that. They were just normal people, and different weeks people would talk about their expertise. And and I'd grown up, like I said, I was raised by free thinkers, and so I'd grown up studying astrology and geology as it applied to crystals and metaphysical healing. And I said I'm Irish, and we had a long history of Druid belief systems tied into our everyday living. And I'd been taught by a man in New Mexico who was Yaqui Indian, and as a young child. And so I had all these different beliefs that were bigger than that. They weren't mutually exclusive from, but they were just that and more of what the Catholic Church had to offer me. And so I started listening to this, and then a woman named Nancy Sweeney, Reverend Nancy Sweeney, who had been educated by a lot of the, Dr. Hornaday and a lot of the old school RSI ministers in, I think it was in, was it in California on the coast? I think it was in Santa Cruz, the Santa Cruz campus, but it might have been in the Santa Rosa campus. I'm just not clear anymore. Anyway, that's where she had studied and gotten her license. And she came up and was the minister for the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. And so a friend of mine was going to church there, but she kept calling it church. So I could not go with her, although I was really interested. And then she would, because every couple of weeks, she'd be making this food to take. And I'm like, why are you making all this for shit? I'm like, well, why don't you just skip it and come with me? And she's like, no, it's my turn to bring the food. I've got to go. Why don't you come with me? And I'm like, no, because she kept calling it church. Okay. But anyway, then for some reason, I was somewhere with her, and I met Reverend Nancy Sweeney. And I knew in that moment that I could go anywhere that woman was, anywhere. And I still didn't start going to service, but I did start taking classes. And I had friends who were going to Unity, but Unity is a little bit, well, actually, it's a lot more Christian. It's way, 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 way Christian. And I understand that RSI, or that religious science of mind is supposedly a Christian philosophy, but it's more. It's bigger. So it's that and more. So anyway, and I eventually started going to service. And then I just kept studying and studying and studying. And next thing you know, I'm in practitioner training. And so, I did that a number of times. And I never really just went, I'm going to quit. I would just not show up to the next few classes, right? And then that class would be over. I was back then, RSI had Science of Mind 1, 2, and 3, and each one of them had 3 parts. So it was Science of Mind 1, Part 1, 2, and 3, Science of Mind 2, Part 1, 2, and 3, Science of Mind 3, which was Prac Training, Part 1, 2, and 3. So I got all the way through Science of Mind 3, Part 2, and I would have had to fly to Seattle to take the test. And my abundance consciousness was not that evolved. I was like, I can't fly to Seattle just to take a test, because it would cost a lot of money to fly to Seattle. Mm-hmm. And But you know what? When I was growing up in Anchorage, I had to fly to Seattle to buy shoes. And, it's like, because the shoes, the shopping in Anchorage was very limited, and I had really wide feet. And so, so I don't know. Anyway, so then I went all the way. So then I turned back up and I said, okay, I'm ready to finish my prac training. And Reverend Nancy was like, I'm really sorry, you've timed out. You have to start all over again. And I was like, my ego.
What?
My ego is not my amigo. So anyway, my ego said, I don't have to do that. But I went to the classes and I was kind of snotty about the whole thing. And I wasn't happy about it. Not even a little bit. And I felt like I was really it was a waste of my time. But it was a whole brand new curriculum. It was the United Church curriculum. And so that was, so it was interesting. And a lot of the people I was in class with became practitioners at our center.
Mhm.
And I was there first. I was at the first, church service they ever showed up to. Then I'm in their first classes and I watched them become practitioners. Anyway, I dropped out that time again.
Okay.
And well, Reverend Nancy retired and the new minister and I didn't see eye to eye. And it was just that we had a different vision. I can see that now. And and I was about to go to Oregon. And when I was in Oregon, I was going to the center in Eugene. And I talked to the minister about starting prac class, but I don't think she had a prac class going.
Mhm.
And anyway, so then I came back up here. I worked out here for a while, and I'd go to the center when I'd go to the center. Well, probably 2012, I moved to Anchorage for a minute, and I was, so I'm going to the center all the time. Now, Reverend Don, who's our spiritual leader, spiritual
Yes.
director, he's so wonderful. And his wife is a practitioner and she is so wonderful. We have a wonderful, wonderful practitioner core there. Anyway, I'd been at his first, I was in foundations with him when I went through the second time. That was his first time through. Anyway, I started taking classes again, and I took classes. I got all the way up to, I was in Prac 1 when they came and asked me to come back out here and work.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'm going to go out there. Can't, he's like, no. Mm-mm. So then he called me up and he goes, hey, why don't you do it online? Why don't you go to this? And I said, okay. And so I read the thing wrong because I never would have tried to sign up because the class started at 3:00 and school teachers, you can't just leave early.
Right.
And I didn't get out of school till 3:30. But I didn't know that when I signed up. I thought there were 2 different classes, and I signed up for the later one. I was really excited. So I go and it's earlier and I'm like, hey, is there any way we can adjust this? Is there any way we can shift this? And they voted, and a whole bunch of people were on the East Coast, and they were like, no, sorry, girlfriend, we don't care. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just took a deep breath and went, you know what? If this is my path, Spirit will make a way. And if it's not my path, it's not my path. And that is that. And I was, that peaceful feeling you have.
Yes.
So I went to my principal and I said, listen, I need 30 minutes one time a week for the next 18 weeks. So that's 9 hours. Anyway, it worked out to, it was going to be like 2 personal leave days. And he's like, are you kidding me? Do you know how much unpaid overtime you work? See if the across the hall teacher, the 6th grade teacher, see if you can send them over there, get their stuff ready. They can just leave 30 minutes early once a week. It'll be fine. Like, wow. And I've got so many principals that would have never, ever, and he was only my principal that 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a miracle. And then the next year, the class, luckily, started at 4. So not only did I have time, not only did I get my kids out, but I had a minute to take a breath, use the restroom, because teachers cannot use the restroom. I mean, that is just a thing. It's just like,
Right.
you got it. So I could and get a drink of water and then go to class. So anyway, and I flew down for my retreats, and that was pretty magical. I'm telling you what. And yeah, the whole thing, it's just been wonderful.
If I had prac students ready, I don't think that now maybe a few years ago, I probably would have went ahead and tried to teach them myself. But I've met a lot of people from the online. And let me just say that the online training, the consciousness of the people that I have met from the online practitioner program has been just outstanding.
Well, I had really wonderful teachers. So I had, and I'm really sorry, I can't think of the last name of the practitioner, Pat. I can't think of Pat's last name, but Reverend Simon Shadowlight from the Denver Center, whatever that place in Colorado is. Oh my gosh, he is the most wonderful teacher. And then for Prac 1, I had them. Then for Prac 2, I had Reverend Robert, who and Reverend Christina.
Yes.
And they were absolutely fabulous. Plus, I have lots of other teachers, that have been teaching me through the years. And I've had the same prayer partner for 35 years now. She's 93 years old. She still drives her own car. She manages her own money. She's gorgeous and in wonderful health, at 93.
Right.
And, so it's the real deal about this teaching is it's right there. It's right there, and it's right here, and it's everywhere you are, and every single thing is my teacher. So, it's a real simple premise. Then there's, the little nuances here and there that I continue to learn and strive to learn. And we attract, I believe, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah.
And I attract wonderful teachers. And, I'm going to tell you, there is not, for me, everything and everyone is my teacher, because even a stopped clock is right twice a day. There's nobody I can learn from. I'm telling you. So I keep, and then I'm someone who really, really, really believes in the practices. I'm religious about my practices. When I get up in the morning, I meditate. I sit in silence for 20 minutes. When I'm done with that, I read my little book and do my contemplation. When I'm done with that, I do my journaling. When I'm done with that, I do my prayers. Now I've added, I take Tai Chi Chua from Reverend Christina Tillotson. And I just want to say that it's a moving meditation, and it doesn't supplant my other meditation. And I don't mistake, I'm not someone who mistakes meditation and contemplation. Or mindfulness. There's a lot of things. If I'm washing the dishes, I'm doing it mindfully, but that is not, in my estimate, that is not meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Is mindfulness. And so I spend a lot of time in nature, and nature is my teacher. And I feel the most connected with spirit in nature. I love being out here. And because I have no car and walk everywhere I go, I get to be out. And, I get to be out in the Northern Lights. I get to be out in, my house is on stilts because it floods so often here.
Wow.
It's like, in Anchorage, they get snow days. Here, if it floods, somebody will come get me in a boat and make me go to work. So,
what's up with that?
I know, right? I don't know. I know that I am blessed with wonderful teachers, wonderful friends. And the amazing thing about technology is, not only could I do my prac classes online and attend centers far away from me online, I can attend, I don't just have to go to my local center. I can attend centers all over the country. And if it's in an inconvenient time, I can watch the replay. Imagine that. Now, I'm going to tell you, this did not happen when I first started studying science of mind. This was not an opportunity. And to get my hands on like the recordings that I have access to on YouTube, you can hear Ernest Holmes's speech, his own voice saying his own writings anytime you want to for free. And if you join the archives, just like, I think it's $25 a month. It's like nothing. You have access to this amazing library. Oh my gosh, of unlimited possibilities of education and expansion and knowledge. And
you're not going to believe this.
What?
We're almost out of time.
I do believe it. So anyway,
Go ahead.
Thank you for asking me. I'm sorry if I talk too much.
Oh, this has been wonderful. It's just wonderful just to hear you speak about your spirituality and how, again, that you're able to merge that with, again, and to be where you're at and to be able to not only be of service, but to feel connected, not only with people up there, but also around the world through the online. So how wonderful, how just wonderful it is to, again, any parting thoughts here?
Thank you so much for letting me come and asking me about my amazing life, the little small corner of the world in which I get to be, I live and breathe and have my being as part of the whole big part. And I also want to say how much I love you. And I'm so grateful to be here with you. And I'm so proud of you. You're really fabulous at this. Great. And thank you again for inviting me.
Yeah. This picture that you see here, I saw this in a vision 10 years ago. It was one of those flashes and I saw this right here, what you're seeing. It was amazing. Toni, Shannon, again, thank you so very much. Again, continue to be the bright light that you are. And again, to continue spreading your light, because it not only touches the people up there, but really around the world. And again, thank you so very much for your time this evening, and happy holy days to you and your family then.
And you as well.
All right. Now I'm going to go get us off the air, but you stay right where you're at. Okay. And, okay. Hi. So we're done. Boy, a couple hours goes by, or at least an hour goes by quick. Wasn't that amazing? Toni, just an amazing, beautiful woman who shares her light with the world, and how wonderful it is. Well, anyhow, again, thank you so very much for joining us. Again, with the holiday season, we are your functional family here at the New Thought Media Network. So yes, you can still go home if you want to, but we have all kinds of really cool programming, including coming up on the 21st of December, we're having a Yule log burning. So I'll tell you more about that coming up here. So on behalf of myself and the rest of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night and a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.